Hello, everyone. So this week I'm going to be talking about how you can be happy at work. Okay, so we spend most of our waking life, well, not most, but we spend a significant proportion of our waking life at work. And why do we work? Well, we work because we need to earn an income so that we can survive, so that we can live, we can support ourselves and support our families, so that we can do the things that we enjoy. So there is a purpose to needing to work, but a lot of Australians and a lot of people in general aren't happy at work. There are elements at work, albeit management or other staff or the work role itself, that causes people to feel unhappy and depressed at work. So I want to tackle some of these issues today. Excuse me. So with that being said, let's get started. So, how to be happy at work. So before I get started, there's a few interesting facts that I'm just going to put out there. So on average, people spend about 30% of their waking life at work. That's 30% of your waking life on average is spent at work, and I believe this is done based on a 40-hour work week. During your work days, so typically Monday to Friday, you'll spend 50% of your working of your waking hours at work. So once again, based on 40-hour work week, 38 to 40-hour work week, you'll spend about 50% of your waking hours, and that's actually by design. Back when the workers were fighting for more lenient working conditions, they were able to agree to get the 8-hour workday. So that's 8 hours of day, 8 hours of play, and 8 hours of sleep. So pretty much on your work days, the 8 hours stems from back when negotiations were done with government and organisations, so that workers could get the 8-hour workday. So by design, 50% of your waking time during work days is at work. So over 50 years, you will spend about 10 years at work. Okay, on average, 10 years at work over 50 years. That includes weekends and sleeping time and all that sort of stuff. So that's about 10 years you will spend at work. Monday is the most common sick day around the world. In Australia, it's actually Tuesday, and I think that's because there's a few work policies out there where if you need to take a Monday off, you have to provide a doctor's certificate. And if you're taking a sickie and you're not really sick and you're having a mental health day, which really should be acceptable as well, because sickness doesn't just happen in the body, it can also happen in the mind. And there's plenty of evidence out there to show that having a day off every now and then is very beneficial to productivity and to your state of health and well-being. But in terms of physical sickness, there are if you have the Tuesday off instead of the Monday off, a lot of companies in Australia, you don't need a doctor's certificate for having that one day off on the Tuesday, but on the Monday you do need a doctor's certificate, and I guess it's their way of just making sure that if you have a hangover over the weekend, you still come into work and you're not taking the mickey. So, and Fridays is the least likely sick day. So what does this say? I mean, this says generally that people don't look forward to going to work. If you feel sick at the thought of going to work and you feel happy at the end of the week, less likely to get sick, that is, because you're coming towards the weekend. I mean, what does that say? Yeah, like a lot of people aren't happy going to work. And why is that? Well, we're going to cover that shortly. So, what are the main causes of work-related stress? So, long hours is one. Okay, so typically it's a 40-hour 40-hour work week, but at the same time, there are some jobs where it's, I guess, expected in inverted commas, that people stay longer than 40 hours a week. I remember when I was engineering, especially in the early days when I was a graduate, we were expected to stay for very long hours, 10, 12-hour days, and even on weekends. It was ridiculous. In hindsight, I mean, lessons learned, of course, but in hindsight, I would never have done that, knowing what I know now. But I guess that's the advantage of experience, of life experience. Workload. Okay, so heavy workload. And vice versa, light workload, not having anything to do, being bored, also causes work-related stress. Okay, deadlines. Having to meet deadlines causes stress. Okay, other staff, so not getting on with other staff members, or having toxic staff members and managers around you can also cause work-related stress. Lack of purpose. So if you're doing a role that you feel is mundane with no purpose, that will cause you stress. Over supervision and micromanaging. So constantly feeling like big brother or big sister is watching you. That can definitely, and that is a main cause of stress at work. People like the freedom to be autonomous without having to answer to someone else. And unfortunately, in the work environment, well, unfortunately / fortunately in some situations, you need to report to someone, and there is someone that you're accountable to report to. And if that is taken to an extreme, and you're being micromanaged, and you feel like you're constantly being watched, then yes, that's going to cause work-related stress. Excuse me. So, what can you do? What can you do to make your working life better, more tolerable? Okay, so here are 5 things that you can do. So, first of all, you want to find a job that is aligned with your personality. Okay, and when I say a job, I mean you might be working for a company. There might be a range of different types of jobs within that company that you can do that would be suited towards your personality. So do a personality test, the Myers-Briggs. Get to know yourself. And then find a job that aligns with who you are. For example, if you find that you are more creative and you like being around people, then you might be better suited for a creative role. For example, architecture, or somewhere where you can allow your creative juices to flow. Vice versa, if you're introverted, you might be better suited for a job where you work alone more often. Whatever that may be. Okay, if you're more thinking based, more what's the thinking brain? The thinking brain is the left brain, I think, from memory. You'll have to forgive me. Having a bit of a mind blank here, but I guess that's also part of life. But if you're more thinking brained, you might be better suited for tasks where you think more than you're creative, so less creative and more thinking. Okay, there are some people who find that repetitive tasks work very well for you. You might have a very short attention span, and you might be able to focus. You might not be able to focus on tasks very long, and doing something repetitive can be very helpful for you, and you might find that as a form of meditation. So find out who you are and find a job, either at another company or at the company or within, that suits your personality. Work for a company aligned with your purpose. Now, one thing that I'm big on, and one thing that I teach all of my clients, is that you're born with a purpose. You are here for a reason. You're not born randomly just to work, go to the toilet, eat and sleep. there is a mission, there is a purpose for why you're here. And if you're working for a company that isn't aligned with your purpose, you're going to be very, very miserable and very unhappy, because you're going to feel like you're wasting your life. So it's very important that you find out, and yes, you will have to find out what your purpose is. And it can be scary, but it can also be a lot of fun. And to add to that, when you do find your purpose, and if you do find a job or a company that aligns with your purpose, your productivity will skyrocket, because you'll feel like you're on a mission. It will be wonderful. And the definition of work can also be modified to fun. When you're aligned with your purpose, it can be fun. And I'll give you an example. Someone might want to take humanity to the stars. This was a dream of mine when I was a kid, or when I was at university, which is why I did engineering in the first place. And if you want to take humanity to the stars, if you want to go and explore space, a good company to work for example, might be NASA, or SpaceX, or a company aligned with the mission of bringing humanity to the stars. Or if you can't work for that, then maybe working for a telecommunications company that's involved in projects that work with NASA or those companies. That can also be fulfilling, because you're still contributing. It's still aligned with your purpose, excuse me, just in a different context. So you're no longer going to the stars, but you're designing or working with equipment and people whose mission is to go to the stars. So you are, by default, still aligned with your mission, whatever it may be. So find out your purpose and work for a company that is aligned with your purpose. Learn to be assertive and speak up, or privately with your manager, when something is on your mind. Okay, too often I've seen people brush things under the rug, hoping that the problems go away, or they tell themselves, "Oh, it's just at work, and when they get home, it'll be fine, and it'll go away in time." But no, it still bothers you. It will still bother you. So learn to be assertive, and yes, it can be very scary. But ask yourself this: if you're going to talk to a manager, or if you're going to raise something, and you're going to be ridiculed for speaking up, is that somewhere you want to work anyway? Personally, I don't think so. Okay? So this is where assertiveness is very important. And there is nothing wrong with finding out that where you're working might not be aligned with who you are, because of an interaction that you've had with a manager or a staff member because you spoke up. We are all on this journey, and we are all evolving and changing. And our relationships change as we evolve, and so does our work. Our work and the places that we work for and work with, because that is a form of relationship, will also change as we change. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with discovering that the place you're working for no longer serves you, because it must serve you. You are serving it, but it must also serve you. It goes both ways. You are not a slave to the company. The company is not a slave to you. It is a symbiotic relationship. It is a relationship of give and take, where you are both giving and you are both taking, and there is nothing wrong with that. And if there is an imbalance there, and the company is taking more from you than you can give, and it's making you feel unhappy, then change companies. There is nothing wrong with that. Put yourself first, because if you're going to work for a company where you're happy, the company itself will be happier. It's a collaboration. You'll be working together towards your common purpose, towards your common mission, your common goal. That is one very, very powerful way to be happy at work. So learn to be assertive and speak up when something is on your mind. During the day, go for a walk every hour. Go outside for a walk. Get some of that beautiful vitamin D on you, that sunlight. Breathe in that air. Get out of the work office. Get out of that environment. Every hour, go for a walk. 5-minute, 10-minute walk every hour. You'll come back and you'll feel better. You'll feel refreshed. Even if it's raining, no excuses. Take an umbrella with you. Go for a walk. Every day before you start work, so when you're in the office or wherever or if you're on site, wherever you work, make a task list. every morning of things that you need to do, things that you need to achieve and accomplish in your work. And when you achieve those, when you achieve your tasks, cross them off the list. If you have a task list of things that you need to do, it will help you to focus, because you're not thinking, oh, do I have to do that? Do I have to do that? No, you've got it right in front of you. You don't have to spend energy trying to think about what you have to do, because you know what you have to do. It's written for you. So spend a good 10, 15, 20 minutes every morning writing down things that you have to do. And if you've got big tasks that you need to do, then break them down into smaller tasks and cross those off. Another thing that I've got that I haven't actually gotten written down there, but I will add one more thing, so I'm going to turn 5 to 6. Improvisation. Have a calendar of things that you need to do. Okay? So every day, check what you need to do on your calendar in the sense of when things need to be done by, and work to that so that you can prioritize. Okay? And if you find that, because deadlines is one of the main causes of work-related stress. If you find you've got a deadline creeping in, you don't want it to creep in unexpectedly. You want to give yourself enough time where you can work towards it, where you can do the things that you need to do in order to meet that deadline. And if you can't meet that deadline, you want to give yourself enough time and enough opportunity to let the parties that are involved with that deadline, the people that are involved with that deadline, know that something is wrong, and the deadline may not be met or won't be met. There is nothing wrong with that. Not all deadlines can be met. I've worked on many projects in my engineering career where deadlines couldn't be met for whatever reason. But people will respond better if you give them notice that something can't be met. They'll probably be unhappy, but the unhappiness will be minor compared to not being able to meet the deadline and then finding out at the last minute. So prepare yourself for success. Set yourself up for success. Keep a calendar as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Okay, it's your work must align with your mission, must align with your purpose. So allow it to be part of your process of self-discovery. Learn about yourself. Okay, don't think that you're going to find your purpose at work. No. Your purpose starts with you, and then your work must align with your purpose. You don't align with the purpose of your work. Okay? So find out who you are. Find out what sort of personality you are. And you very well may not like being told what to do. Maybe part of your journey is to go out by yourself and to work for yourself. Excuse me. And maybe some of the heartache that you find at work is part of that revelation that maybe you do need to venture alone in whatever field that is. And vice versa. You might be in a management position, but you don't like managing people, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. Okay? You're perfectly content just working 9 to 5 minimum hours, earning an income, and spending time at home with your family, or doing the things that you love. And there is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. We talk about climbing the corporate ladder. That's not for everyone. So find out who you are. Not what society or what work expects of you. Find out who you are. And then make the environment fit who you are. Work for a company that's aligned with you. A culture that's aligned with you. Everyone will benefit more that way. Especially you. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe. If you want to make an appointment with me, you can contact me. My website is www.alexrodriguez.com.au. You can email me at info@alexrodriguez.com.au. And please feel free to share this with anyone else who you think might benefit from it. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.